ready to get serious about building content sites and building a profitable business online? Welcome to the Niche Website Builders Podcast. We bring you the latest field-tested tips, tricks, and strategies for building a profitable online asset. We interview industry experts, share customer success stories, and reveal our own experiences working on hundreds of sites to inspire and motivate you to make something happen. Let's do this.
Welcome to the Niche Website Builder Show. Today, I speak with Chelsea Clarke. Chelsea has been in marketing for a while now, but she only just started out on her own road around 4 years ago. But wow, she's achieved a lot in that time. She blogs over at mypaperroute.com. She's built a great community over there for online entrepreneurs. We talk about process for building and flipping sites. She's a real big flipper of sites. So she takes us through her strategy of what the thought process through buying a site, and then kind of the process she undertakes when she kind of grows that site and then flips it just a few months later. And kind of we talk about some of the returns that she's managed to get from doing exactly this kind of strategy, and she's done really well with that. And we also talk about her strategies for growing a profitable blog in general. So some of the main things that we cover are some of the digital products that she kind of uses as a way to monetize her blog. So in particular, she uses courses quite a lot. So it was really interesting to run through, what she does there and the success she's found with that. And lastly, she runs her own website marketplace called blogsforsale.co. So we talk a little bit about that and how she runs that marketplace. And that was really interesting to kind of go through as well. So I found it to be like a really inspiring episode. Chelsea's a really inspiring person. So just sit back and prepare to be motivated. I hope you enjoy the show.
This episode is brought to you by Niche Website Builders, an agency dedicated to helping people just like you build profitable content sites. Niche Website Builders are the hands-off content site marketing agency you always wished existed. It's run by content site marketers for content site marketers, and they help both investors and individuals alike build profitable online properties. They provide a fully outsourced approach to content creation, link building, and done-for-you website builds, the same approach they use on their own six-figure portfolios. For example, their content packages come with a proprietary keyword research process, are written by in-house native English speakers, formatted using templates proven to convert, and uploaded to WordPress with affiliate links added so that all you need to do is hit the publish button. Check them out at nichewebsite.builders/show. That's nichewebsite.builders/show and fill out the form to get coupon codes for 10% more content or a 10% discount on links with your first order sent right to your inbox.
Welcome to the Niche Website Builder Show. Today, I'm speaking with Chelsea Clarke. Chelsea Clarke is a content monetization strategist and digital investor. She blogs over at herpaperroute.com, where she also runs digital marketing courses and has an entrepreneurship podcast. She also has a website marketplace, blogsforsale.co, where she acts as an intermediary. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Excellent. Yeah, really looking forward to speaking with you. And we had a quick chat before we started recording. And as I mentioned then, I feel like I've been missing out. Like you've been doing a lot of stuff, and a lot of things are really interesting. And I'd only recently kind of come across your blog and your podcast, and so I was really keen to kind of get you on the show so we could kind of talk a little bit in more depth about your story, which seems really interesting. So really excited to have you on.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here and honored that you invited me. And yeah, you and I have a lot of things in common with our work that we do with niche building, niche site building, affiliate marketing, and all of that good stuff. So this is really going to be a lot of fun.
Excellent. So I think what we'll do is it'd be really great to kind of start off and hear some of your backstory, kind of where it all began, and kind of bring us kind of up to where we are today, and then maybe we can dig a little bit deeper into some of the things you've done in terms of strategies for building niche sites and other businesses that you've kind of started. So yeah, I'll let you take it away.
Sure. Well, I got my start in the content marketing world. Actually, I was working in a corporate marketing job, and I was building sites for the company and for clients of my boss. and everything was going good, but I always had a blog myself on the side, and I just didn't really make the connection between the marketing I was doing in my day job and the blogging I was doing on the side as a passion for a long time. And I got laid off from that job. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have any savings. And I was like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And so I started a dropshipping business. And I put my apartment up for rent on Craigslist to sublet it out. I had someone else come in and take it over. So my rent was paid, and then I had to figure out where to go. I actually found a 24-hour access office space that was available. It had 24-hour Wi-Fi. And so I went for it. I rented it, and I secretly lived there for, I think it was about 2 months while I was just funding my dropshipping startup. And this was a couple of years back, in my 20s. So I think things would be a little different now. I probably wouldn't rough it like that now, but it definitely worked out at the time. And I got another job. I was working by day at a new marketing job, and then I was bartending by night. Long story short, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but eventually I found my way back to blogging, and I made the connection to applying my marketing interests and skills and monetization experience onto my blog. I got it generating about $5,000 a month in revenue, and then I sold it for $50,000. And pretty much the rest is history. I was hooked, obsessed with just building niche sites and building them for myself and selling them. And then pretty soon people started asking me for help selling their sites. And that's when I launched Her Paper Route, or Her Paper Route, wherever you live. And we started to expand from there and actually helping people to monetize and build out their sites, whether they want to sell them or not. And then that just led into the marketplace, like you mentioned, at Blogs for Sale, where people can buy and sell online businesses. So that was a lot, I know.
No, you've done a lot, and there's definitely loads to kind of dig into with some of the stuff that you've done. So, what was that first blog that you wrote? What was the first blog that you got to 5,000 and that you sold?
So that was a beauty blog. It was a cruelty-free beauty niche site. And I liked doing it. I was getting a lot of products sent, so I was able to do reviews, but I was finding the actual time that it took to create that type of content. And I didn't want to be an Instagram influencer. That wasn't my interest. I loved creating content, but I didn't want to spend my time on Instagram. So the beauty niche, I decided to just build it out, make it profitable, and sell it. And the reason I think that one I was able to monetize quickly was because it was so niche down, and there is, or at the time, I think there still would be now, there was a lot of interest in clean beauty, cruelty-free brands that don't test on animals. And that was something that personally I am invested in, I believe in. So it just made sense to go with something that I felt passionate about.
Awesome. And how were you monetizing that blog?
I was monetizing that blog primarily from affiliate links, not Amazon. I did have some Amazon links on there, but I really focused on partnering with brands one-on-one or going through something like Share a Sale. But I always tried to negotiate the commission rate. So instead of just accepting what was the main terms, I would reach out to the brand and try to negotiate a better deal. So we were able to do that. I focused also on digital products. So I created just small ebooks, like a little guide, sort of a capsule wardrobe for makeup. And that was something that was able just to be sold pretty cheaply, really, but it added up just because there was a lot of interest in that niche at the time.
Cool.
So those were the two main focus. I then did get it into Mediavine, but ad revenue wasn't a main focus. It was really just digital products and affiliate marketing.
Yeah. So how did you when you went to negotiate those kind of deals, which is definitely doable and really good? How did you negotiate? Did you talk to them about the amount of traffic that you had, or how did you negotiate those deals?
Yeah, you can definitely use your traffic stats as leverage. So anytime someone's listening and they want to reach out to some of the brands, if you've already generated X amount of sales with a brand, then you're probably already on their radar, and it won't be a surprise when you ask them for a higher commission. So
Uh-huh.
think about the brands that you already are working with. That's what I would recommend. And, you know, you wouldn't want to come out and say, hey, give me 60% commission if right now everyone's getting 10%, but start with 15%, you know, start there, and then you can really build up from there.
Yeah. So in terms of selling the site then, so did you sell that privately through a broker? How did that go?
So that beauty blog I sold on the Flippa marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And then every site after that, I've just sold it myself through my own marketplace.
Okay. And what kind of traffic levels had you got that to over time?
On which one? The first one that sold?
Yeah.
That one was getting, this was a couple years ago, but I think it was getting about 45,000 page views a month. So not huge, but sizable enough that you could work with what it was getting. And it was getting a nice split between Pinterest traffic and organic Google. And that's, even when I'm buying sites, that's really what I look for. I want to find a site that has a nice balance with Pinterest and organic Google. I don't really want it all over to one. I know a lot of buyers, they see Pinterest traffic and they get scared. They either think, oh, I don't know how to keep the Pinterest traffic up, I don't understand it, or it's not as valuable as Google traffic. But I would disagree. If you can find a niche site that is getting a lot of Pinterest traffic, what that means is that it's ranking in Pinterest search results. There are pins that could have been pinned years ago that are still sending traffic to that site. And there's a lot of value in that. So when I find sites that have good Pinterest traffic, and you can go and you can check, just like you would a seller's Google Analytics, you can go and check their Pinterest Analytics. So you can see the exact pins that are getting clicks, when they're being clicked, who's clicking on them. And you can really use that to your advantage, knowing what the audience is already interested in. So when you buy that site, you can just build out on those topics and create more content around those popular topics.
Yeah, I totally agree. I use Pinterest whenever I can as well. Like I just love it as it takes time to get there, but like it's actually quite a relatively cheap way of actually getting traffic. Pinning versus creating blogs. Like pinning, and obviously you've got to create the blog. You've got to create the content first, but the actual pinning exercise isn't. It takes time, and you've got to set the right processes up. But it's not too onerous, and you can definitely get VAs to kind of help out with that kind of thing.
Good point. Yeah.
And so I think it's I use it whenever I can, and like you say, it's a visual search engine, really. So
it is.
It's like those pins that you say are going to get. It's not like other social media where it's transient and things will disappear and they're gone forever. It's pins are going to get stuff forever. So yeah,
exactly.
I totally
Yes, those pins, if they're ranking, they'll keep on sending traffic. And unlike Twitter, like you're saying, when something is posted, it gets way lost in a feed and it's never to be seen again. With a ranking pin, it's going to be seen for years to come and send you traffic for free to your sites for years to come. So there's just it's definitely something to focus on, I think, as niche site builders and website investors, as we all are. It's something to really take into consideration into your content marketing plan.
Yeah, cool. I'd be really interested into kind of talking to you a little bit more about kind of how you think about starting blogs and how you recommend your audience kind of goes about starting blogs. But it'd be really cool to hear about any other kind of, what are some of the other kind of sites? You mentioned dropshipping, but are there other blogs that you've kind of started and sold as well? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in my first couple years of building sites, I was starting everything from scratch. Maybe I was buying an expired domain if it had backlinks, going through a refs and trying to build up some of the old pages or links that may have existed at one point. But really, I was starting from scratch and just building everything with a brand new WordPress install, brand new theme, just from the get-go. Nowadays, what I do is I'll just buy a site that's already generated with some traffic and income, and I'll build on it, get the revenue up, get the traffic up, and then sell it on. So I know you had Jared on the podcast recently, and he was talking about buying and holding. I do that as well sometimes, but I love the rush of buying and flipping. I do. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, and yeah. I'm a Gemini, I jump from thing to thing. I don't usually want to focus on one niche site forever. So aside from my main business, like her paper route, that's something I'll keep on blogging on for as long as I can imagine. But the niche sites that I start, I don't intend to hold on to them for very long. I really want to create something awesome that is turnkey that I can sell and someone else can run with. Last week, I sold a Gen Z personal finance blog, and that was one that I bought about 4 months ago. And I didn't do too much. I really just updated the theme. I updated some of the older blog posts, fixed some SEO, just got some of the pages to meta descriptions and things like that were missing, did that type of work, and then flipped it and sold it on. So that's really been my strategy for the last couple of years now. It's really just buying something where the content is really good. There's a little bit of traffic. It's okay if it's not amazing. It's okay if it's not ranking. I know that I can put some work into it. And yeah, I just like the rush of being able to see the makeover process and then let someone else take it over.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Yes. Adam, my business partner, we have kind of completely different, like he does that. He's definitely just like you, where he buys something and he sells it on like pretty quickly after. He just kind of, like exactly like what you said, tidies up the pages, creates a new theme. And just like does enough to kind of increase the traffic by enough that it's kind of worth flipping and making, anything from a couple of $1,000s to significantly more if it works out. So I'm kind of more of the whole guy, but he's always trying to get me to kind of sell quicker and like when I've bought something. So but maybe I'll come around to that. But so
either way, it's a good way to do it. Either way, there's nothing wrong with either way.
There isn't, I think. And I think you're either one or the other, it feels like. But I don't know. But I'm definitely more of the long term person. But maybe I'll do a bit of that in between as well. But tell us about like on this site or some of the other sites, like what successes have you seen in like this kind of quick flip? Like give us some of the numbers in terms of the transformations you managed to do from like in terms of traffic and maybe what you bought it for versus what you sold it for, that kind of thing.
Yeah, happy to. For one example, there was a site that I bought last year. It was a mental wellness blog. It had about 100 blog posts on it. I bought it for $3,500. It was making about $200 to $300 a month in ad revenue. The thing that I really was attracted to was the content was so good. The seller, she wrote everything herself. It was very personal and like long articles. There's a lot to consume, and it was very educational and informational. And there was just something about it that I knew could really connect with the audience. It came with a small Facebook group, a small community. So with that one, because it was a mental wellness site, I really knew that this couldn't just be something just like a transaction. There's really something personal with the community, with the people who read the blog. A lot of the readers are struggling with mental illness, or there's people who had depression and they were writing letters and emails to us. And so there was a certain responsibility that we felt with this one. So what we did is we really just focused on building out the community, giving more resources to the community, and building out the content that was currently there. We monetized it with affiliate links. So we focused on Amazon for that one. There's a lot of lifestyle products that worked well with that, with the brand that had already been started. And we didn't want it to be super commercialized because of the content itself, the niche it was in. So we really had to do it in a way that felt good, felt right for everyone. Yeah. So we partnered with online therapy affiliate programs, and we worked with them to just, we just had little at the end of articles, if you need someone to talk to, here's a free link to talk to an online counselor, that sort of thing. So it was never pushy. It was never salesy. We did it that way. And another way that I monetized that one is I partnered with Ultimate Bundles. When I bought the business, it came with an online course for just, I think it was about having a healthy routine. So how you would wake up and spend your day. So we contributed that course to Ultimate Bundles. Ultimate Bundles is a group where they have flash sales throughout the year, and customers get access to like 100 online courses and ebooks for one really low flat price. And then the contributors people who sign up as a customer, they get to enroll in your course for free, but you get their email address. So it's a win-win for everyone. So that was a way that we really grew the email list. And that grew to, I think it was about 4,000 people in just a couple months. And then the revenue started to increase at the same time. I was earning about $1,200 a month with that site, that between the digital products, the affiliate, and the ad revenue. It was in Mediavine. And then I sold that one for $26,000. So that was a great profit margin. I bought it for $3,500, sold it for $26,000. And it, in that time while I had it, it earned about $8,000. So I was able to get that return on my investment from the initial buy and then some, and then sell it on. So that was a good one. Another really great flip was one that I bought this site. I think it was about $250, maybe around that mark. It was a terrible site in that there was no traffic, but the content was so good and it was so huge. It had like 1,000 articles in all these different categories. It had travel, business, stocks, like all these different personal finance, lifestyle, shopping. Too much for one site. So what I did is I bought it and then I split each of the categories into 7 different smaller niche sites. And I sold each of those on individually and just redirected the links from the main one that I kept hold of. So that was another good one. I purchased that. I said $250, but I actually think it was about $500. And after selling off all the different smaller sites, that profit was $16,800. And I did that in about 6 months. So that was a good one too.
Yeah, that's cool. So how long was the time period with the first one, the mental wellness one?
The first one, I sold it, I think it was 9 months. I'd held it for 9 months and worked on it.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, it must have had some decent traffic to get like an email list of 4,000 over that period of time. You must have had some decent traffic coming to it, right?
Yeah, the email list came from partnering with Ultimate Bundles. So that's what grew the email list. It started with about 1,000 people on the email list when I purchased it. Yeah,
that makes sense. Cool. That's really there. There's some good stories there. So I like, the way that you kind of split that one off as well. And so you were just creating like multiple assets kind of from that. And I guess it wasn't really earning anymore in its disparate parts, but it was kind of, you were just selling each site individually with, I don't know, like, a couple of 100 posts each or something, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So each site got about 100 to 200 articles. And I monetized each one with different affiliate links throughout. And then some of them I created a digital product. Like for the travel one, I created a little ebook of travel tips. This was before the pandemic, of course. Just things like that too. And then it started, it was all of the sites were getting a little bit of traffic from Pinterest, just from the little bit of Pinterest work that I had started on them before selling them.
So do you still have the main domain that's redirecting links off to those other sites?
I don't actually. I sold that one and she's still redirecting sites. Some of the sites we were able to redirect internally, not from the main domain. And I was able to do that because the pages were not ranking on Google. I think the original owner either just didn't know about SEO or what, but they had never submitted to Google. They had never really written with anything in mind. So some sites were ranking like way down, way down, but nobody was actually clicking on it. So it was safe to send off some sites that weren't being redirected because there literally was no backlinks. There was nothing ranking on those sites.
Cool.
So that's something to mention because I wouldn't want anyone listening to think you could just do that and then if a site is ranking, you could really tank a site. So I don't want to say that. Just a warning.
Yeah, because quite often you'd normally sell that domain with the site that you kind of sell as well. Because obviously that's part of the package. If you take that away, then you lose a bunch of other things. But cool. And that's already. The other question I was going to ask you on that is kind of where did you come across these sites? Did you reach out to people like one to one, or were they on like Flipper, or how did you find these sites, or generally how do you find them?
Yeah, so most of the sites that I buy now, people come to me. I have a free valuation tool on my website, and I personally look at each one. If I like a site, I'll just make an offer right away. If it's not right for me, then we'll list it on my marketplace and I'll represent it and help them find a buyer. So really that's how I'm finding most of my sites is people just bring them to me. And through my email list too. Whenever I send out a newsletter, there's a lot of people that are just like, hey, I started this blog, it's doing well, I don't have time to do it. Can you run with it? And that's really been the best way.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'd like to come on to the brokering part as well in a sec. But you mentioned like you dabbled with some drop shipping in the past. Like what was that you did?
I did, yeah. So I did that just a couple years out of college, and I didn't end up holding on to it. I actually held on to the domain. I rebranded the site and sold the domain and website on a few years later. But the actual business that I was running, I just stopped doing it. It was drop shipping clothing, swimsuits and beachwear from China. And I did that for a few years, and it was a lot of fun, but man, there's just so much that goes into it. And I really wanted to just focus on the content side rather than customer service. That's not, I'm all about passive income. And we all know that niche building isn't 100% passive. It takes work and strategy, but there is a certain passive element that comes into play once your site is generating revenue. With the drop shipping site, it's really not, just because there's a lot of back and forth. There's customer service. There's just certain elements you have to track. Where's the package? What's going on? And that's not where I'm not excited by that, I should say.
Yeah. I've never tried drop shipping, and I've heard that a lot, but also I've heard people that, if you get it right, you can make a killing with drop shipping. So I'm not kind of interested in that either. I don't think it's more about the content for me. So I don't think I'll be trying it anytime soon, but cool.
Never say never.
Well, you never know. Yeah. If the right thing comes along. So, in terms of, you have a course on like how, starting a blog, which is one of your free courses kind of on your site. When you're talking to people about kind of starting a blog, so like, they're starting from scratch, so they might not have any money to invest in kind of buying an existing blog like you do and then kind of flipping it. Like when people are starting from scratch, what do you suggest to them about like kind of choosing a niche? Is it more about like their passion, or do you help them with kind of researching kind of ideas? Like how do you approach that with the people that you speak with?
That's a great question. And I really do believe that it has to be sort of just the perfect match for you personally. Someone can't tell you what your perfect niche is going to be. I think it comes down to a combination of you have a passion in it, you have some experience in it, or you're willing to learn about it and research it. And also that you could see yourself enjoying writing about it for a while. So if you're going to be starting a site, I know a lot of people in the beginning, they want to get started, but they feel like they have to know what their niche is from the start, and that will sort of put a block and they won't get ahead because they're stuck at that place. So I always say you can figure out your niche as you go. What you really need to do is just start writing and start surveying your audience as your audience grows, see what it is that they need help with, and don't worry about knowing everything in the beginning of what your big business, your big blog is going to be. That can get worked out over time. Just get out there, start writing. But if you have an idea of what it is right away, even better, because then you can really just focus on your keyword research, figuring out what problems you want to solve, and creating content around that and how you provide those solutions. Then your niche will just fall into place a little bit easier. But either way, I would say just don't worry about it. Just start doing what feels natural and really where your interests are lying. And then as you become more advanced and you start doing it more, maybe you've created a few websites, then you're just going to have a knack for it, and you'll be able to see something trending or see something that seems interesting to you, that you can do some research and figure out what products may be appropriate for that niche. And it'll just become like a formula, and you'll be able to create content and create digital products too that really serve that one purpose. So that's what I would say on that. And in the free course, we do touch on that. And when you're just getting started, I know it feels like so much because it is. There's a lot to learn. But I think if you just take day by day, learn a little bit, just be open to making mistakes and knowing that your mistakes are really not that bad. Just keep on learning and, listen to podcasts like this and you'll be good.
Yeah. I think I totally agree. Like people just get so stuck on starting. You just start. Like it might not be the thing that you end up doing, and you might bin it, but like you just got to get started because you're never going to get anywhere if you don't start. So yeah, I totally agree with that. So in terms of when you think about starting a new site and planning out the content, do you kind of plan out like several months of content in advance, or even when you're doing your flipping kind of approach? Did you ever add content to that? And if so, like, how do you think about like the type of content that you're going to add, and what's that process that goes through your mind on that?
I do. I like to start those projects with the exit strategy in mind, and I've worked my way back from that. So once I figure out where I want to get it to, what sort of traffic, what sort of customers I'm seeing this niche site be able to achieve in what time, then I can work backwards and figure out what type of content I need to create in order to reach those goals. So that's really my formula that I've always sort of followed. And I just really go step by step. And I start with maybe a 3-month plan. I'll have a couple blog post ideas. I'll have a couple digital product ideas to support those blog posts and vice versa. And then I'll come up with my marketing plan. So we always go by the 20-80 rule. 80% is promotion, 20% is content creation. So we'll create a new blog post. I'm spending much more time after it's been published on actually getting it out there. So I will manually go into Facebook groups and I'll share the new blog posts in specific groups that makes sense for what the blog post is about. So rather than just going to general blogger share groups, I will think about what is the product that I'm selling in this blog post? Where does this customer hang out? And then I will go to a Facebook group where that customer hangs out, to a group that allows people to share content in it. And I will go in and I'll just let people know about it. If someone has a question that I see that relates to something I answered in the blog post, I can just comment, oh, hey, I actually just wrote a blog post about this. Come check it out if you're interested. And that's been a way that I've been able to generate a lot of traffic quickly to new blog posts. And of course, Pinterest too. That's where I focus on the promotion side. So it's really a nice mix of content creation and content promotion.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. I think it's definitely important when you're thinking about digital products, I think, or even courses, like kind of to like plan that kind of content, because it's really easy to like, to take an example of, like I say, like a cooking blog. It's kind of really easy to just do a cooking blog and then think, okay, now I'm going to add a course onto this. But people may not be looking for a course. Like they're just coming for something else, or they're just coming because they're interested in buying, I don't know, a frying pan or something, but they're not interested in the course. But if you're actually building content around courses, then then you're getting the right kind of people that are kind of looking for the course, if that kind of makes sense. And because it's very easy just to kind of then tack it on as kind of an extra, but really you're not quite getting the right people coming, even if it is a similar kind of audience. Is that something you kind of think about in terms of?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely do take that into consideration. And for me, I'm always surveying my audience. So whether it's the audience that I'm just starting to grow for a new niche site, an audience that came with the business I just purchased, or the audience that I've been building at Her Paper Route over the years, I'm always sending out quizzes, surveys. If I send a newsletter at the end, I'll ask, hey, what do you think about this? Just to get people telling me what it is that they need. And then I go and I answer those through the blog post or through the actual products that I create, just from literally asking people, what do you need? What's not working with X? What's your struggle with X? Or what could be better about this? And if you really just listen to what people are saying, but then also read between the lines, a lot of the time you are going to hit gold. Because if you ask people their opinions, people love to talk about themselves. People love to talk about what they hate. I don't ever want to be a negative person, but the fact is, if you ask someone what they hate about a niche or a product or a thing, they're going to tell you 9 times out of 10 a lot more often than if you ask them what you loved about it. So that has been something that's really helped me in creating the type of digital products and courses and ebooks and even templates when I've done website theme template stores, just asking people what they don't like about their theme. And then I can create a theme that ticks those boxes to be on the other side of it.
Awesome. So that's something that you've done. You say you've created a site for themes?
I have. Yes, that was another flip. So I bought a Genesis theme website, Genesis Child Themes site, and then it had about 8 themes. They hadn't been updated in a while. So I just went in, I updated the code and created a couple new themes, did a launch that the business had a new theme. And then it was about 7 months later, just flipped it on and someone else is running it and she's doing amazing with it. So it's nice to see when that happens.
Oh, that's great. I mean, you really have kind of mixed it up in terms of the different kind of stuff that you've gone into. So, yeah, it's really interesting.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the awesome thing about niche site building, I think, is that you really get to do so many different things. And if you are multi-passionate and you have different skills and interests, you can apply a certain skill set to one site and then sell it on, and then focus on the other site where you can do a completely different interest or focus or skill that you may have in your back pocket over the years built up. And now you can actually express that and move on. So that's the thing. It's just a great combination of creativity and technical and analytical. It really combines all of those things. So if you're a nerd like me, it's like the best job in the world.
Awesome. So in terms of like the the monetization, we've spoken a little bit about ads and a little bit about affiliate and ad networks. Just to kind of looking at kind of the courses, just trying to get a feel for kind of some of the other stuff you've done. You've kind of got an email marketing course. You've kind of got a business branding course, an influencer marketing course. So what are some of the other ways that you've kind of, or the kind of interesting ways that you've kind of monetized different sites and managed to kind of build an audience?
Those are really the main ones that you hit on there. So the digital courses, ebooks, website templates, like we just mentioned, ad revenue. So when I'm building a site now, usually I'll get it on Ezoic and we'll build it out there. And, we'll work with the team there. They're awesome. And I also really like Ezoic because you can get your sites in. The monthly threshold sessions are lower than other ones in some cases. So if you still have a site that has to have good quality, of course, but you can get it in a little bit sooner than you might on another network, and you can just start earning while you're building the site. So I really like that about them. But yeah, my focus is usually affiliate marketing and then creating digital products that support those affiliate links. So let's say you want to teach about how to start a Shopify store. You might create a free online course showing people how to use Shopify, but when they sign up, they get to use your affiliate link to join Shopify, and then you can make money on that. So even though it's a free course, people are signing up for your affiliate links once they get in, and you can generate a good amount of income that way.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like you spent quite a lot on in terms of the digital product side. A lot of the focus has been on courses. Is that fair, or what other
fair.
things have you done? Yeah, I mean, because courses they're not easy to, or they're not quick to put together, right? Especially if you're like kind of touching into like one niche and then touching into another. Like you kind of got to pick up a lot of stuff and learn it and then articulate it down real quick. So like, have you got any tips on like how you can kind of go about creating a course for a site?
I do. And this is my secret, one of my secrets, and I'm happy to share it. I look for sites when I'm buying. I look for sites that come with an online course. So the seller has already created all of the content. And what I do is I can just go and create a new intro at the beginning of the course. If it's going to be something that I'm going to bring into my business, of course, go through the content, make sure that you actually stand by everything that is said in the course. Don't just take it and hope for the best. But I'll create a new intro, and then I'll introduce myself, introduce my business, and then I will say the following lessons are narrated by Sarah or James or whoever it was that had actually created the content. And then I'll add a couple additional lessons. I'll create some downloadable deliverables. I'll just put my stamp on it. But the actual bulk of the course is actually created by the person who I purchased the business from. And I've done that a few times and then just sold that as the business goes on onto its next place. And maybe the new owner does that as well. It takes away my intro and creates their own intro, and it lives on that way.
Cool. That is a good tip for sure. Yeah, that's definitely another asset to consider, like when you're looking at buying a site. So I like that.
Creating courses, like you say, it takes so long. So if you can get a little shortcut like that, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I guess you kind of need some sort of audience as well already, because promoting and selling a course as well isn't easy if you've got nobody to sell it to.
Definitely.
Cool. So
yes.
In terms of like other kind of digital products that you've kind of done, is there anything else you've done outside of courses too?
Those are really my main ones. So courses, I've done a couple ebooks, the template shop, those are really my focuses. If it's not something just online, I mean, we've had Facebook groups. That's been another way that we've generated traffic as well as brought in some revenue. So I don't know if it would really be considered a digital product, but I think it is, being a social community. But yeah, that's really it. And for me, I don't try to focus on doing too much or spreading myself too thin. I really focus on what I know. And if it's going to be creating and launching and promoting a course, then I'll do it. But if it doesn't make sense for that niche or for that business, I'm not going to try to create a course from scratch, because there's just other ways to generate revenue quicker and through affiliate marketing, I really do believe.
Yeah. And when you've used Facebook groups in the past, is that generally that the site has come with a Facebook group as well? Have you ever started some from scratch? Like how's that worked?
Yeah, they've always been ones that have come with a business that I have acquired. And usually I'll just go in, I will see if it has been active, if there's members still posting regularly. If you are able to find a business that comes with an active Facebook group, that's great, because you can just walk yourself right into an instant audience who will see everything that you post in that group. It's just a nice way to cut into the Facebook algorithm that a Facebook page just doesn't really work the same. So organic Facebook pages, it's just not doing what we would used to, not so much. Yeah. Everything is pay to play these days, but a Facebook group is a shortcut and a free shortcut. So that's a good asset if you find a business that comes with a Facebook group.
Yeah, I agree. I love Facebook groups, and I think they're generally more personal than, like, if you've got a mailing list, it comes with a mailing list. Depending on how hot that mailing list, how often it's been emailed, it can be quite a barren place. But a group is kind of a little bit more personal. So if you kind of start talking in there and kind of then trying to promote the course in there, that's probably you're probably going to get more results than through a mailing list, I would imagine. Yeah,
I would agree. I think so.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's move on to your to the website marketplace that you started. Did you start that in 2019? Is that right?
Yeah, I started it in 2018, but I just say officially 2019 because I had the website looking nice by then. But I was, buying and selling sites and helping other people buy before that in 2018 too. And I actually did work at a business brokerage before I quit to blog full time. And I was building sites for the business brokers. So that's sort of what turned on the light bulb for me. And then I went through the International Business Brokers Association. I did the training there to learn how to be a broker for brick and mortar businesses. But then I just applied that to the digital space for what I knew with niche site investing. And it really helped, I would say, quite a bit.
Awesome. So that's cool. I didn't realize you'd done all of that kind of in the background as well. And you had a previous job kind of doing that kind of stuff. So that's really interesting. So in terms of, like, I mean, how do you just kind of, how do you kind of promote that business, and how do people kind of find you, like, today? Like, is it just mainly through her paper route that people come and find you that way? Or how do people come across you?
People right now, they seem to be finding me a lot through Google search, which is great. That's like the holy grail. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice. In the last year, it's mostly been Google traffic. I don't pin as much as I should for this business, just because I'm always focusing on so many things that now I have someone on my team who's taking over the pinning for the marketplace. And that is already showing results, which is great. I like to pin into Tailwind communities. So Tailwind is an app. I'm sure many of your listeners are familiar with it, but you can go in and pin to these different niche communities, and then there's lots of people there that will see it and possibly repin it to expand your audience. So that's been really good for pinning on promoting our listings. And my Her Paper Route email list too, I love those guys. They are right into niche site building. They're all content creators, small business owners, and people who just want to learn how to do it better online. And so whenever I have a new listing, I'll let them know. So that's been a really great way to get the word out as well. And I guess in the last 6 months, I seem to be doing a bit of a publicity tour. It wasn't really planned, but I've been guesting on different virtual summits and podcasts, and also interviewing a lot of my customer or clients who have bought and sold sites on the marketplace. And I've interviewed them on my podcast too. So that's another way that we've really just been getting the word out for our small business that seems to be growing pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's so I wouldn't have necessarily thought that Pinterest was somewhere that you could, that you would use that for that kind of business. Like generally people talk about it being very visual and using it for visual stuff, but it sounds like it's working for you, like in that space as well.
Well, you're totally right. And that's actually the reason why I said that it hadn't really been a focus for me in the beginning, because I just assumed that too. And then when I started to pin my listings, I was really surprised about the traffic that was coming in and the emails. People were emailing me and saying that they had found me on Pinterest from a listing pin. And so that's something that I think was really cool. And the type of pins that I was creating were text-based. So I would literally just say like travel blog for sale and make the colors all pretty. And that really, it was like a no-brainer when we started doing that. So that was a good one.
So do you think it's almost that you might be, the people that are coming and finding you via Pinterest, do you find that they are already seasoned bloggers, or do you feel like you might be tapping into a new audience of people that are gaining interest in the idea of owning a blog because they found you on Pinterest? Like, what do you think that is? Yeah.
Well, I feel that there are so many other people blogging about blogging. It is such a competitive niche to be in. And that niche was really not a niche I was focusing on. I was creating training and content about traffic building and marketing and blogging because I personally have an interest in it, but I wasn't planning to make that my full-time thing. So the fact that I know there's a lot of competition in this niche always surprises me when people come to me for starting a blog. I absolutely appreciate it, but I'm finding a lot of people who had maybe started their blog with someone else's course. Over the years, they've decided, okay, maybe it's not for me, or I want to do some completely different niche, or I've had a baby, I don't want to do this right now. They're coming to me to sell that blog. So that's really, I think, the market that is working well for me. And that's really where I feel the best, that I can really serve people the best. Because sure, you can read my blog and learn how to start a blog today. All that information is updated all the time. It's current. It'll help you. You can do that today. But for me, my passion is the exit strategy of what happens when you're done with that blog. So that's really the people that I'm speaking to now.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. So in terms of the marketplace, like, take us through like how that, if I wanted to sell a blog on your marketplace, what's the process that you go through? Is there a due diligence process? Do you have a certain bar that people have to meet to kind of get onto your marketplace? How does that work?
Yeah, so when people submit their site, we do look at sites that aren't monetized as well. Our focus is sites that are monetized though, but we don't say no right off the bat, because I know that there are some gems. A site that may not be earning revenue may still be valuable because of the content, because of the traffic, because of the products that come with it, things like that. So our intake form, it really just asks the basic questions. where's the money coming from? How are you earning? Why do you want to sell? What are your page views? Really just basic things like that. And then when we get into more of a conversation, we can dig into it more. But people that are coming to sell, I'm finding they just feel like their passions have changed and they don't want to give up and let it expire. Like they don't want their hosting to just expire and kill their blog. And that was a big reason for why I started the marketplace, is because I know how much work goes into creating these sites. I know how much time, effort, passion it goes into creating. And I didn't want people to just give up on their sites, because I know that there are buyers and investors and people who will be interested in it. So that's why I created the marketplace. And I'm finding that our sweet spot for where the type of sites that sellers want, it's really the ones that are earning between $200 to $1,000 a month. More than that is good too. But whenever we get a site in that mid-range there, they sell so fast. They'll sell the next day sometimes. And that's sort of the problem. It's a good problem to have, but it's the problem that we have is that we just can't stock sites fast enough. And we have all of these investors who are contacting me and saying, when are more sites coming out? And, we say, we're getting them, they're in the pipeline, but really that is where we're at right now, is we always need more sellers. And I really just value all of that work that goes in. And I just can't stress that enough, because I am a blogger and I've been there. I'm still there. I build sites every year. I'm building new sites. So I know what it's like. And there's a certain emotional element that comes when you're ready to sell. If it's your first site, it really feels like you're selling a part of yourself. So I value that too. And when you do it though, for the first time, it's a lot of fun, and you'll probably get addicted like we all are.
Cool. So, so how do you do you take a commission cut of the sale price? How does that work?
We do, yeah. So we do take a commission. It's about 15%, depending on what price the site sells for. So if it's selling for over $100,000, then we'll reduce that commission. But it really just depends on the actual selling price. And we are planning on expanding a bit of the marketplace too, so that sellers can upload their own listings, and that will really be good for everyone, I think, too, and be a more affordable option as well.
Yeah. Okay. And as a buyer, then, so I assume the best way is to get onto a mailing list, or and then you'll kind of let the mailing list know when new sites are available. Is that the best way?
We do have a mailing list, and you can customize your deal preferences. So you can sign up. It's free. We send a once a week email blast out with any new listings that we have. And it's a good way to just sort of keep in contact too. But yeah, that's how we do it. And actually, you're making me think I want to get on your mail list now too, because I realize I'm not. And I've already been watching all your YouTube and podcast interviews. So I need to subscribe. I'm sure you'll have some things going on that I'm going to want to buy.
Cool. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, we work a lot with we build sites and stuff for people, but we don't do any of that kind of brokering. But we do work. We source expired domains for people, so we kind of vet expired domains to make sure that they're gonna stand the best. They haven't got any a dark history of any kind. That we check that the backlink profile is healthy. We do a lot of kind of due diligence there. So we'll source and find expired domains people, and then build sites for them on those expired domains. But that's kind of the kind of where we're positioned in that space. So we don't but so that's something that you might be interested in, because
I am.
Expired domains are good for that, and good for building sites on, or good for redirecting into a site if it's got a good profile as well. So so the last thing I was just going to ask you was we've talked about a lot there, right? But that's it's in a really short period of time. We're talking about since 2017, right? You started all of this, so that's 4 years, if that, right? You've done a lot in that time. So I guess so, yeah. When you think about it, it just sounds like you've done. There's a lot of things, but that's what you've done that's what you've done and achieved in the last 4 years. What does the next 4 years hold for Chelsea and for her paper route?
Yeah, really, I'm just focused on scaling right now. So just growing the business and focusing on the podcast too. So the things that really light me up and being able to do that. So we hit $500,000 last year, and I really just want to expand and see what we can do, create better content, help more people, and just really have fun with it. And that's really where I'm focused right now. So what I'm doing is I am working on my next virtual summit. So I hosted one last summer, and right now I'm just in the works of planning this year's one. And it's going to be all about website investing. So Mark, I'd love to get you involved in that. But yeah, that's really where my focus is, in the virtual summit, the podcast, and just getting more listings out there, reaching more people, and just seeing what we can do to take it to the next level.
Awesome. That sounds cool. So do you have many people working with you on your team in the business?
I have a small team of 4 people, and they're awesome. They're great. They're a huge help. And really 4 seems to be like a good number right now. I definitely worked too long as a solopreneur. I felt like I had to do it all, as many new business owners do at that time. I'm glad that I overcame that and just, opened up the world. And the fact is, so many people are they can handle all the things. We all think that we're the only one that can do something, and that is so not true. Your time is more valuable than you sitting in front of the computer and doing everything in your business. I don't know who needs to hear that, but someone needs to hear that today.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, I think, yeah, it takes everyone, I think, a long time to learn that. But then once you've done it, you go back and you just think, why have I not done
Yeah. Delegation is great.
Yeah. There needs to be a bumper sticker or something, I think. But so cool. So before we wrap it up then, is there anything else that I've missed? Anything else that you'd like to mention to our audience? Or yeah.
No, I mean, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. We definitely covered a lot of topics there in that hour. So really just thank you so much for having me on. It's been a really, really great experience.
Yeah, no problem. So where are the best places for people to go to find out about what you're doing and all your work?
Sure. Well, you can find me at herpaperroute.com. That is my main blog, and you can find the marketplace there, my podcast, courses, and I have just a ton of free content on things like affiliate marketing, email marketing, and niche site investing. And that's just all there on the blog at herpaperroute.com. And if you are interested, I have a free niche site toolkit at herpaperroute.com/toolkit. And that gives you some, as we're touching on some of these Pinterest marketing tips, we go a lot deeper into Pinterest inside there, and you can get everything for free. Okay.
Well, thanks once again for Chelsea for having me on the show. I think that was a really good episode. Like I said, we covered a lot, and you've done a lot, and it's really inspiring for me and for everyone, I think. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're listening to the podcast version of this episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Please rate and review, as this will allow us to grow our audience and create more shows like this one. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to be the first to know about any new episodes that we release. Until the next episode, goodbye.